So, as most of you know, Hyper just updated the game, and for reasons that no human being will ever be able to understand, he broke it again. So, he just made a new early game meta. This is the update page, and we can see that he added economic investments and ideology laws and a monarchy law. We're gonna look at that later. But the most important thing he added is economic investments. If we look at these here, that some of them add tax and resource, we're not interested in that. It's the facts usually in it. So if we take this is in Nuremberg, and we just need phosphor, fertilizer, and some PP and some money, then we get 50% factory output. That's pretty OP. So we're just gonna build our normal factories like we normally do build. Just get steel and all those factories up and running. So once your factories are built, you want to go into the investments and then see what's the best city you can do this in. And that's Stuttgart here, which is pretty good. So you build your civilian factory here to get consumers, and then you click this button and enact. So now instead of the usual 40, it will now produce for the consumers 77. So if we get out and start selling this, we can now sell much more consumers than we would usually be able to. Which this is really a game changer in the early game because this only lasts half a year, but that half a year can still make you a lot of money. And if you then couple it with the factory output research, your factories begin to become really overpowered. So we would start at 40 consumers, and now we're 113 for half a year in this city. Now, yes, there are not that many of these, and you uh, will only get them when the new year starts. But it's only an early game thing. You're gonna do this in the early game, and then you're gonna build more in the late game. But this saves a ton of money, so it really breaks the early game. If you don't have this, you should get it immediately. You should do this immediately. So that's investments. So now that we got a lot of money, we can just look at the other parts of the new update that he made. So if we look here, we can see monarchy laws, and ideology dependent laws. So we can see that he had one for liberalism, nationalism, and socialism. So if we go in here and we go nationalism, could also go fascism, then we should get one law here now, and it is this is different for all the good. But here we can get another 25% factory output, but this is not so important in the beginning. But this is pretty good, so we justify even faster. So if we take this, then we justify faster, we integrate faster, and unrest goes down faster, and we also build faster. So basically, fascism, you can declare war instantly now. That's basically what it is. But if if we now change our ideology to something different, let's say democracy. So once we're democracy, we will get a new set of laws, which in this case is democracy style, and you get parliamentary and presidential. For the fascist, while I always go right, this I would pick both. I would go presidential in the beginning to get or 20% more PP, which is pretty good in the early game, and it only costs 75 to change this. It's gonna cost more, but then you go and you get all your policies and you get all your leaders of your country with that, and then you switch to parliamentary, so you get more experience to your leaders, so they become better faster. And if we now change to the communist, we can just give ourselves some here, and then we're gonna go the communist side. Yes. So now the new policy that we got is collective privacy, and this it's pretty good at some things, but it's not too good. Like this one, if we start with Maoism, resource output. This is really good for a country like the Soviet Union. If you're Russia, you get a lot of more resources, which boosts your economy. Marxism is also pretty good in the form that it gives more factory output, even more, while communism already gives like a ton. This gets PP not as much as democracy, but still a good bunch, but I would still say these two are better than this one. We have Stalinism, which gives stability, and this is pretty much a conquest. So if you want a conquest, then you go Stalinism. And Trotsky, that's all, just if you want to justify faster and just throw a bunch of men at the line. So basically, if you're playing China. But if you're, it all depends on your situation. So if you are Russia, I would go this one. But if you are China, I would probably go this one or this one. Depends on how your playstyle is. So if we then look at the other new law that was added, monarchy power. So this demands that you are not socialist, democracy, or liberalism. But this is still, you can still use ideologies with this. It just becomes much more overpowered. So if we if we go back to fascism, we can still do these laws. So now we can get this one, which is good for fascist conquest. Then we can, this one's not good. Then we can get this, or we can get this. This we need. This you need to go this first. So we just take this and take that. Now we get 35% more tax income, a lot more political power. So this is basically fascism plus this plus absolute monarchy. It's basically the conquest meta, no conquest meta. So we make a lot of money now due to the consumers we make, and now we can conquer a lot of nations very easy, and nearly doesn't cost anything to do it. We gain um, we gain military upkeep minus on this one, and that all fascism also gives that. So this is a very good ideology, and it also kind of ruins socialism. So if you want this, you have to go communism. Socialism and liberalism just became way more useless. So that's basically the new update. Now I know Hyper added a lot of new formables, missions, but we don't really and releasables, but we don't really care about those. And he also added more phosphor, which a lot of people like. So yeah, get grinding.